Right, guys. Today's topic is our boiling and condensation. We'll define what is boiling, what is condensation. But I think you are already familiar with the terms boiling and condensation in your thermal and engineering part. But we are not discussing it in that aspect. Here we are discussing it in the aspect of heat exchangers or in the form of heat transfer. That means we define what is convection is. Convection is a form of heat transfer. It is a mode of heat transfer which happens in between a fluid and a solid. That means in a solid surface, if any fluid is forming, if there is any heat transfer happening there, we define it as convection. But we didn't mention that there might be a chance of any phase change there. That means if any liquid is passing on to a solid, there may be a chance for the liquid to absorb heat from the solid and it starts changing its phase. That means it can go on to vapor state. Same way, if any vapor is passing on to the solid, it can absorb the heat and it then come to a liquid. So we didn't discuss yet about the phase change aspect of heat transfer. So today topic is regarding the phase change transfer. What exactly happening here is we already consider the convective heat transfer part, but we done it on a homogeneous single phase system. That means previously we dealt with only one phase. We consider it as having only one phase. But there are some process which we define them as boiling and condensation, which are associated with the change of phase. Which the example which I mentioned now, the liquid can be changed to vapor or the vapor can change to liquid. First, if we are talking about the boiling part, the boiling involves change from liquid to vapor phase of a fluid substance. In the same way, if condensation is considered, it refers to change from liquid to vapor to liquid phase. So boiling is something which changes from liquid to vapor, or condensation is something from vapor to liquid. So we are now considering that vapor, that phase change regarding to heat transfer part. Okay, first we'll see what is boiling and then we'll go for uh, condensation. But before going that, where else we can use this, or where we can find this phase change happening in applications is we can see that in our cooling of nuclear reactors, in the steam power plants, in refrigerator and air conditioning systems. These are some examples or the applications where you can see the convection heat transfer taking place and there is some phase change happening there. So to define those applications, we need to find what are these phase applications or phase change applications are. What unique features this both the boiling and condensation process acquires as a consequence of phase change. That means phase change is happening. The heat transfer to or from the fluid, that means heat can transfer from the fluid or it can absorb the fluid, can occur without influence in the fluid temperature. So the fluid temperature is not influenced, but still there is a chance of getting heat transferred from or to the liquid due to this phase change. The total, we are talking about the total fluid temperature. That means if you, I'll explain, I'll take an example and explain it. You take any liquid part, right? If the liquid is flowing on the solid surface, if the liquid is maintaining at a temperature of 100 degrees centigrade or 80 or degrees centigrade, the solid temperature is of some 150 160 degrees centigrade. Now this liquid will absorb the heat from the solid. We are not talking about the rise in the temperature, the fluid temperature. That means the liquid temperature cannot be changed or it cannot be influenced, but the phase of the fluid changes. That means it is being a liquid. By absorbing heat from it, it may goes to the gaseous form or it may evaporate. That's what actually the point is. That is the first unique feature. The second one we are talking about is the heat transfer coefficient and rates due to latent heat associated with the phase change are generally much higher when compared to normal convection. That means in the phase change concept, the heat transfer coefficient rates are usually high when compared to normal things which won't have phase change happening, because convection always doesn't need the fluid to get phase change. There are two conditions: there is no phase change happening and there is some phase change happening. The heat transfer rates or coefficient is very high when there is phase change happening when compared to when there is no phase change happening. Okay. Now the third one is the third unique feature is the high rate of heat transfer is achieved with small temperature difference. If you need to have high temperature, or heat transfer rate, we should have the temperature difference is less. The temperature difference between the solid and the fluid should be less, than you will have high heat transfer rate. That is a unique feature. So we are dealing with three unique features. The first one is the final or the fluid temperature need not to be get influenced. The second one is the phase change convection process have more higher rates. If you The third one is if you need high heat transfer rates, you need a small temperature difference. Okay. Now we directly jump onto the topic for boiling. What actually happens in a boiling heat transfer? We know what is a boiling is, right? How can what is a boiling is? It is simply defined as you are changing the liquid form of to a vapor form. But how this exactly happens is we are considering a convection part. And same example I'm explaining here. You have a solid surface and you have a fluid flowing onto it. If we maintain this solid temperature greater than the saturation temperature of the fluid we are taking. We know what is the saturation temperature is. The temperature at which the phase change happenings is known as saturation temperature. So if you are taking a liquid, it starts evaporating at a temperature of 100 degrees centigrade. That means it starts forming into a gases or vapor storm, which is steam. So we should maintain the solid temperature greater than the saturation temperature of the fluid. That means this fluid temperature should be maintained more than 100 degrees centigrade in case of water. If this is not a water, if this is something else, the particular fluid will also have a particular saturation temperature. So for us to maintain boiling or to create the boiling effect, we should maintain the solid temperature greater than the saturation temperature of the fluid. If it is liquid, if it is water, go for 100 degrees centigrade or more than 100 degrees centigrade. That is what exactly boiling heat transfer is. You can see here. How can you define a boiling is? Boiling is a convective heat transfer process involves in phase change from liquid to vapor state. Right? Boiling is defined as evaporation from solid to liquid surface. It is an evaporation process. What happens is when the temperature of the surface, the solid surface, exceeds the saturation temperature of the liquid pressure. That means the liquid or the fluid which you are taking, what I mentioned. That means you should maintain the solid surface greater than the saturation temperature of the liquid. Then the gas or the liquid starts evaporating. To define it, we need, as it is convection, we go for Newton's laws of cooling, which is Q is equal to HA delta T, which is Ts minus T saturation. Ts is the surface temperature or the solid temperature. T saturation is the saturation temperature. This difference is expressed as excess temperature. That means that excess temperature will create the boiling effect there. And if in the third unique feature, we find out that that temperature should be very small to have high heat transfer rate. It should not have very more difference. If it is having very less difference, you will have high heat transfer rate. Okay. And these are some boiling applications. Please go through it. I know you are very familiar with the boiling term, and mostly you can see that in all power plants or any refrigeration systems. So please go through the application part. So I think you're okay with the boiling. Boiling is very simpling. It is a form of it is changing the state from liquid to vapor. How this happens is we should maintain the solid temperature which is greater than the saturation temperature of the liquid. Okay. Now we have different phenomena happening in the boiling. The first one is it is pool boiling. The second one is forced convection boiling, and the third one is subcooled or local boiling. What is this pool boiling? Is in this case the pool boiling means I'll take an example and explain you what it is, right? You take a vessel and you started heating water in it. That means it is a very simple heating process which we do in our kitchens. Okay. The water inside the vessel is still. It is not moving, it is stagnant, which is not at all moving, which is stagnant. That kind of boiling or that kind of convection is referred to pool boiling. So in this case, liquid above the hot surface, that means on the vessel, is essentially stagnant, which is not moving. And its motion near the surface is due to free convection. I think you know what is convection is. Free is also you know. That means the fluid is moving by itself. It is not meant to move by external forces. This creates some bubble growth. We know by when boiling starts, you will have some bubbles creating there. This is defined as boiling. I think you are okay with pool boiling. That means the water or any liquid should be stagnant, and there the convection is free convection. Okay. The second one is forced convection. The name itself is mentioning that it is there the liquid should flow. That means that refers to a situation where fluid motion is induced by external means. The fluid should move externally. Take an example of some any radiator, car radiator. You are flowing some, you are filling some water in it, and the water starts moving in the pipes. There, you're creating some force for the liquid to move on in the pipes. There, that is your forced convection thing. Here, the liquid is pumped from input and forced to flow. You're pumping the liquid and you're forcing it to flow. This type of boiling you see usually in water tube boilers. I think fire tube boilers, water tube boilers, you are familiar with those things. That is the second one. And the third one is subcooled or local. In this case, what actually is the liquid temperature is below the saturation temperature. Okay. Uh, we'll see an example. I think we all familiar with the with the concept of geyser, right? Geyser. Or in most houses we have some heater like thing, and we'll place the heater in the of a bucket, right? That is what subcooled or local boiling is. That means the water there, or the liquid temperature, if you go for water, it is water. The water temperature you should is below the saturation temperature of the solid which is immersed there. If we immerse a heater, the heater starts heating first, and the heater will allow the water around it starts heating, but the water is maintained below the saturation temperature. It is not raised above the saturation temperature, and that is what subcooled or local boiling is. So we have three phenomena of boilings here. The first one is pool boiling, in which the water is stagnant and there happens by free convection. The second one is forced convection. The name itself is defining you are forcing the fluid to flow, and thereby the water starts or the liquid starts boiling. And the third one is subcooled. Here the liquid is maintained at a temperature less than saturation temperature. Okay. The fourth one here is saturated boiling. The third point we mentioned in the pool boiling is you are not maintaining the liquid temperature greater than the saturation temperature, but here we maintain the liquid temperature more than the saturation temperature. And here that means the vapor bubbles formed at the solid surface are propelled through the liquid by buoyancy and effects eventually expressed in the feature. I'll explain. In the before case, the temperature is not greater than the saturation temperature, means will their bubbles form. If you see, when boiling starts, you will have some bubbles formation there, but the bubbles can't reach the surface of the liquid. They'll condense before reaching to the surface of a liquid. That is what pool boiling is. But whereas here in the saturated boiling, due to the buoyancy force, the bubble rises to the top, and you'll see the bubbles escaping outside. That means the bubble bursts to the surface of a liquid. That is what saturated boiling is. So these four are the phenomena of boiling, and now we'll go and see the boiling regimes actually. And we are finding what exactly happening is the boiling depends upon the nature of the surface, because the surface is very important how the boiling is taking place. It is also happened to the thermophysical properties of a fluid and the vapor bubble dynamics. These are some things on which the boiling depends on. We'll take an example and we'll see how the boiling is taking place. We are considering an example. No, this is we are taking an example here. That means we take a normal example like what I explained. You take a bucket and you have water in it, and you are immersed some heater in it, and you started heating it. Now, the total boiling phenomena or the total boiling process here we are divided into three parts. The total thing. The first one is interface evaporation or free convection, and the second one is nucleate boiling, that is divided into two sections. The third one is film boiling, which is divided into three sections, 4, 5, and 6. So in the stages wise, we have totally 6 stages. In the process wise, we have three: the interface evaporation, the nucleate boiling, and the film boiling. Exactly the graph we drawn between here is in the ordinate we have the heat transfer rate in the y-axis part. In the x-axis, the abscissa, we have the excess temperature which we mentioned. That means change in temperature of Ts minus T saturation. Now, if you see the starting part where the interface evaporation or free convection taking place, we'll exactly see what happens in the process, and we'll relate that to here, right? What happens in the bucket? You have some water, you immersed the heater there, and it starts heating. Now, the water surrounded the heater starts heating first, then the water then to the next layer and to the next layer and to the next layer it starts heating. This is what happens. And next, you'll see the bubbles rising there. Small bubbles rise there. And at first, the bubbles can't reach to the surface of a liquid. They'll condense in the middle, and later you will see the bubbles rising to the surface of the liquid. And the next stage will be, you will see the formation of layers of bubble around the heater. If you take the same example with the vessel you are heating on the stove, you can also see layers of bubbles happening in the beneath surface. That means the surface of a vessel there. You can see the bubbles happening there in the surface of a vessel there. You can see the bubbles happening in the surface of vessel. So that's the next stage. This is what happens, and then the liquid starts forming into the vapor state. This is happening. Now we are dividing this into our regimes, boiling regimes. The first one which we explained is interface evaporation or free convection. That is what the first stage. That means the heater when immersed there, the liquid there is not moving, it is stagnant. So there is some convection happening because the heater is a solid body and the water around is a liquid, then definitely there will be some convection which is free convection. That means the water around the heater starts heating, which is free convection, which is interface evaporation. The next one is, we said, the bubble starts building. When actually the bubble starts building is the water, in the water molecule you'll have atoms. The atoms will have nucleus. When the nucleus starts breaking, then the bubbles starts. That is what our nucleate boiling is, right? This is divided into two sections here. See, the second one is bubbles condense in superheated liquid. Bubbles rises to the surface. That means the bubbles are condensing before reaching the surface. Then in between only they are bursting. That means they are condensing. That is our second stage. The third one is bubbles rising to the surface. You can see the bubbles bursting in the surface. You can try it in your home. Next is film boiling. That means film means, if you see, if this is our heater. Here you can, this is a heater. After some time you will have bubbles formation here. That means there is a film of bubbles forming there, and that is our film boil. We have a film of bubbles here around the heater. This is what film boiling is, and then this is divided into three parts: the unstable film and the stable film and the radiation coming into film. The unstable film means you don't have equal distribution of bubbles here. The name itself is defining. And the second one is stable film. You have continuously a equal distribution of bubbles film here. The third one is radiation taking place. So what is this radiation taking place is, if you see after some time, the starting of the boiling part, we need, if the same experiment if you are doing in your washroom, after some time you can feel this environment of the washroom is also getting heated. That means the heat inside the water starts radiating to the surface. That's what radiation is, right? Radiation is a form of heat transfer which takes place even there is no contact or any medium. You can feel the room itself getting heated. That is what radiation comes place to. So these are the regimes which we are having. But if you see the shape of the curve here, it starts rising at first. That means, see, at this point, if you see at this point, oh wait, let me clear all this images. If you see at this point, this represents our excess temperature and this represents our heat transfer rate. At starting, it is fine because it is going in a straight way, because as the temperature increases, the heating increases, the bubbles increases, the bubble starts to rise at a point, and at point A, this point A is defined as critical point. After this point, what happening here, the curve starts coming down. What happening here is, we said that there is a form of films here. So you know I explain. This is our heater. We have film here, where in the film boiling state after the A point. Now, basic concept is this heater will heat. Then to that the bubbles which are arranged of a film, that those will get heated, and to the bubbles there are some water, and the water starts heating. In the previous case, what happens is if there is no bubbles, there you see the heater heats the liquid or the water, which is convection. But now the heater is heating the bubbles. Bubbles are also being a fluid, that is convection. But the next part is the bubbles now in turn heat the liquid, because the bubbles, after the bubbles you have some liquid, right? So the heater will convect heat to the bubbles, and now the bubble will conduct heat to the liquid, because both are in the same form. Conduction is something, if you are in the same state, it is conduction. So once I'm explaining, the heater will convect heat to the bubble. The bubbles will conduct heat to the water. And we know convection is high than conduction. So that is the reason why we have here the steep in the graph. That is what steep happening there. That is why the steep is downing. Right? Those are our regimes. You can go through the topic there. I think it is easy for you, right? Film boiling, if you go through, you can understand what I exactly said you. The critical point, the A is defined as a critical heat flux. Okay. Now the factors which the nucleate boiling affect nucleate boiling is the material, the shape, and the condition of heating surface. Obviously, the material is the most important thing, because we don't heat by using a rubber. We need a metal which can easily what we say dissipate heat, and the shape is also mandatory. If you see, all the heaters will have the mounding shape. They don't be in a trapezium or a parallelogram shape, because those shapes will have high geometrical dissipation coefficient, which helps the heat to move fastly. The condition of the heating surface, if you don't have any um, neat surface, or if your condition is not very good, there is no matter of what we say boiling. That means if it is the surface is already wetted or is coated with some any what we say insulator, we won't get heat there. It is a thing. The next one is the liquid properties, right? The liquid properties here means the size of the bubble increases with the dynamic viscosity of a liquid. That means it depends upon the viscosity basically, and it also depends upon the pressure and the temperature something. So the pressure is also another factor. The mechanical agitation. This is what actually the mechanical agitation is. When you start heating, the bubble starts agitating. The bubble starts rising there. That is what agitation is, which is also depends. It is also a factor of nucleate boiling. Okay. Now to explain this boiling, we need some correlations. How can you explain boiling? The basic thing which depends upon the excess temperature. As I mentioned, you should if you need high heat transfer rate, we need excess temperature. So delta T is equal to Ts minus T saturation. That is what delta T is. The formula which we are governing equation is Q is equal to HA. Delta T is our governing equation for that. For nucleate boiling, this is an equation. No need to by heart this. You can see this in our data book. It is Rosenhau equation. We define it as a Rosenhau equation. Please don't try to by heart it. Okay. You can, if you can, it is okay. You can see the same in the data book. Here, mu L is our viscosity, which is for a liquid. H is enthalpy. HFG means it is in form of, you know what is HFG? It is enthalpy of vaporization. G is our gravity. Rho is density of liquid. This is density of the saturated vapor, because it is in the vapor state. This is the surface tension, which is most important liquid property, which I forgot to mention. No, with the viscosity, surface tension is also most important thing. Cp, I think you know it is specific heat of liquid. This is CSL is our surface liquid, surface fluid constant. This is from table. It is a constant. Okay, you know HFG is Prandtl number. This is our excess temperature, and the n here is, it is another constant, right? From the experiment itself we define it as another constant. Its value, its value can be 1. For water it is for 1, and for the liquids it is 1.7. It is a simple one. If it is water, take n as 1. If it is another liquid, take it as 1.7. And this is a table for the CSL, that means the fluid constant, which I mentioned here. The CSL part, the surface fluid constant, which I mentioned, that is the formula for those things. Okay. Now we'll go for the critical heat flux of nuclear. Last one is our what we say. I'll show it. This is our nucleate boiling. This is our boiling correlations. The first we are done with the nucleate boiling, and now we are going to the critical heat flux. Here also we have an equation here. Please don't try to by heart it again. This is a simple equation. You can see the same in the data book here. This is defined by Zuber. Zuber predicted it. The following relation. We'll see what is it in the problems actually. This is for film boiling. We are done with nucleate, we are done with critical, and now we are for the film boiling. But here we have stable film boiling, right? You have unstable and stable film boiling. We have a relation here is the H power 4 by 3 is equal to H convection for 4 by 3 plus H radiation into H radiation for 1 by 3. These are some relations for film boiling. Again, I'm explaining you. These are all mentioned in the data book, so no need to by-heart them. We'll see them in the problems later. Now, here we are for the condensation part. I think you are very clear with what happening in the boiling. We'll discuss condensation in the next class along with the problems for boiling.